Everyone really looks forward to summer. The warm weather, not a cloud in the sky, early mornings, late nights. Summer's awesome. That's not to say winter isn't, but winter for me is about preparing for the summer. We had a really dramatic winter. Either the weather was really, really bad, or it was really, really good. Like, we were having 30-degree days in winter, and after a couple of days of that, it would go into full-on thunderstorms, cyclones, really, really dramatic weather. From a fishing point of view, it wasn't great for me. The tuna did come in, and about 300 kilometers south, they probably had one of the best tuna seasons that they've ever had in recent years. It was, mind-blowing to read that people were catching 20 tuna in a day and releasing 15 of them. They weren't small either. They were, 40, 50, 60 kilo barrels. But my winter was not about going out and catching as many fish as I could. My winter was about preparing for this summer. I did a lot of work, maintenance on the boat, looking at different locations, a bit of scouting, and really understanding what my summer campaign was going to entail. What was it going to be? And with every campaign, you always have to start with a goal of what you want to achieve. And I set out 4 goals. My first goal was I wanted to catch a marlin solo in 2025. My second goal was I wanted to get my friends this coming summer who hadn't caught marlin before. I wanted to get 2 of them a marlin for themselves this year. The third one was I wanted to join a game fishing club and fish through their summer comps. So their comps start September and they run right through to like May. And I wanted to be competitive with my boat being a trailer boat. I wanted to be competitive against the other trailer boats. And the fourth one was I wanted to do all of the above using my own homemade lures. So quite a lot to go with. I thought it was pretty broad. I thought it was a pretty, stretched goal. So over the winter, all these projects. The boat, we had a few more safety things put onto the boat. We had Starlink installed onto it, which I don't know if Starlink's ever been put on a trailer boat, but now we have a dedicated Starlink system on the boat, which is great. I was actually out wide, 30 miles out the other day, and I was watching the EPL highlights. I was bored trolling, hadn't had anything in about 5 hours, and decided to watch the highlights as I was fishing. It was awesome. Full signal out there. But from a safety perspective, it's really important for us as well. We looked at all the equipment that we had. Respooled all 5 of the rods. The lures themselves, we went through a lot of test and learns, a lot of different designs, a lot of water tests, and we got them to a place where I was really, really happy with. And we've put up a couple of videos on how we've been making them before we put them into mass production. But yeah, it wasn't just the planning of having the right gear and having the right equipment on the boat, but also the plan of, well, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? How are we going to run? And it got me looking at my nav quite a lot, looking at the past trips, where all the marks are that I've hooked up on, where all the marks are that I've marked fish, or there's been bait activity. And the one thing I really noticed in this is that there's about a square mile out at sea where I sighted a lot of marlin on the surface. I'd marked a lot of bait below, and I'd actually hooked up and caught on numerous occasions within the square kilometre last year. So I really started to dive down into that spot. You know, what's happening there? So I went back with all the surface temperatures over about a 6-month period of last summer, and I had a look at it day to day. Was the water temperature different? Was the current running different? And I noticed a couple of things. I noticed that, yes, the water temperature was about half a degree warmer than 500 meters the other side of it. I noticed that from the structure on the bottom, there was nothing special. But the current does just pull that little bit more through that little spot. So, taking all this into account and looking at it, it was always part of my plan that this is one of the first spots I'm really going to hit hard this year. And when I say hit it hard, there was about a square kilometre area where there was always life. And to fish 1 square kilometre of a sea that is millions of square kilometres big, needle in a haystack, right? But there was something with this spot that I was always drawn to. So we've got the lures made, we've got the equipment on the boat, we've got the new rods, and I thought, came into early October, very start of October, and I thought, you know, I've got a little bit of time. I'm going to get on the boat one morning, not even going to take rods. I'm going to leave the rods at home. And I'm going to go for a bit of a drive. You know, so I got up, 5 a.m. in the morning, filled the boat with fuel. And I thought, I'm just going to go scout a couple of these spots and just take the temperature of the water and just see if what I've been reading on the maps and what I've seen myself was right. You know, was it coincidental that this spot was providing something else? So it was literally the first couple of days of October, very early for a marlin season, and I booted out, nice calm sea. You know, it took 25-30 minutes to get there. And the first thing I noticed when I arrived on the first mark was the amount of birds. Instantly, you know, booting out the heads, you get all the inshore birds playing around. Then as you get further off, you get different types of birds. You get the boobies. Now, they're the big brown birds. They just fly around, right? You'll see them all the time out at sea. You'll see a couple flying together. You'll see 3 or 4 together, you know, working an area. But when you get hundreds in a square kilometre, all going different directions and all doing different things, you know that there's bait. They're working something. So I rock up on this spot that I've been obsessed with on my maps all winter. And I get there And there are thousands of them. They're everywhere, right? They're not 1,000 clumped up in a little bird tornado, but they were spread all over this area. And I was like, what is it? And I'm going through and I'm marking big clumps of bait, not clumped up in a big ball, but sporadic in different areas. You know, spread almost. A couple of big marks under them. I'm like, okay. And one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in the water was when I was there and I just killed the motor and I was looking around and I saw a whale come up. Now, I see whales every time I'm out in the ocean. Seeing a whale is nothing special. Seeing a whale baby do a backflip and a bloody somersault and, you know, a barrel roll through the air is everyday stuff for us. But this whale did something different. It didn't just come up and go back down. It came up and it sat on the surface and it turned and circled back on itself. And this is something I've never seen a whale do. I've never seen a whale turn. And this made me think that this whale is feeding. So if the birds are here and the whales are here, and then suddenly there's an explosion of dolphins, I'm like, there's something here. I sat there for 2 hours without a rod, 2 hours, watching all of the activity on the surface. And I thought, October, we've had a great tuna run, the tuna have finally come up, and here's me without my rods. Went out to the shelf, and then saw a different type of bird, and it was all the gannets. And what the gannets do, they sit on the shelf. They have their morning feed, and then when they're bored, when they're full, when they're just waiting for their afternoon feed, they just sit there. Hundreds of them again. I'm like, okay, warm water coming up the shelf. They're probably just waiting for the next feed. You know, didn't see any other signs of life out there. Coming back in, saw a couple of sharks basking on the surface. I was like, okay, there's life, is the point of this. Early October, water's not necessarily warm, it's like 20.1, 20.2, but there's life out here. And I decided that in my head, tuna here, finally. So a couple of days later, I had a beautiful break in the weather, and it was too good. I put off a couple of work commitments and blew off a couple of meetings and said, no, I'm out. So 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm down the boat ramp, filled up with petrol again, on my own. And it was a bit of a, I'd not been out fishing for a while. I was a little bit unorganised. Got everything on the boat, put it in the water, got my donuts, my Powerades, beautiful clear morning, bit overcast, but clear waters, no wind. And about 100 meters away from the dock, I was like, where's my phone? It's in the car. Locked it in the car. I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm not going back for it. It'll be fine. Still got all the safety equipment on. Just don't have the phone. So I boot out, and again, 25-30 minutes, get to my spot. Again, thousands of birds. It was weird. birds are here again. Marlin have to be here. Sorry, the tuna have to be here. So I decided to run 3 rods. I ran my middle, my shotgun, with a deep diver, a big long one. It goes down about 20 foot. And then on the corners, I decided to run my skirts. Didn't have any expectation. The night before, actually, I was setting up the boat outside. Some random guy pulled up in his car and he started talking to me. And he's like, oh, you know, nice boat and stuff. And we got talking about the lures. And I showed him my selection and stuff that I'd made at home. And he pointed one out and he goes, this blue one, man, this blue one's going to catch you with fish. This blue, this is what you need to go for. And it stuck in my head. It wasn't my favourite lure. So I put this beautiful black and brown one on. Black and orange. It was a beautiful lure. Put that on the right hand side rigger. Right hand side corner. And on the left I was tossing up on which one to put on. I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for the blue. The crazy old guy who stopped me in the street. Let's give him a go. So put the blue on. Anyway, so I'm meandering around, doing about 8 knots. And, you know, the lures are looking good. They're looking beautiful in the water. The witch doctor's in, flashing up its mirrors. After about 15 minutes, I was doing a turn. And when I turn, I always, you know, check back to make sure my lines aren't crossing, you know, make sure everything's good, make sure that I'm not turning too tight. And as I'm turning, I can remember looking over my left shoulder, looking out. See, sometimes your eyes play tricks on you, especially when you're looking at the water too long, and you start seeing what you want to see. But I know that when I turned, there was a marlin sat on the surface, dorsal fin up, tail up. I could look at her. I could have almost reached out and touched her. She just sat there. I'm like, it's early October. No way. Did I see it? Am I going crazy? And I'm like, I know I saw it. Come around the corner. I was that unconvinced with myself at the time. I didn't double back. I didn't loop around to see if I could raise her. So I carried on down, and there was I saw a group of birds, probably about 500 meters away. And I could see that they were following bait. You know, a couple of them were hitting the water. I thought, right, okay, so I'll come up on them. And then I saw about 6 or 7 of them, all clumped, sat on the water in one spot. Now, a lot of people would go, they're sat on the water, they're not chasing anything. But I know the first fish I ever caught trolling, there were 10 birds sat on the water. And I trolled right next to them and picked up a big mahi-mahi. So, I went past them, took a little look at them as I went past. They didn't even fly away. They were so content with where they were sitting. And out of nowhere, my right hand rod starts to go. Buckles, real screams. Now, I didn't know which rod it was at the time. I did not know. I was a little bit in my own mind. So, you know, you do a quick look, you can hear the reel going. And I think I must have looked both ways. And a little bit of panic set in. Now, my 3 rules, or the 3 steps of process when marlin fishing, when you hook up, are the first rule is you panic. The second rule is you get your shit together, you get your composure, and you start doing things the way that they're meant to be done. And the third step is you fucking panic again, because everything's just going to go to shit. You can have it's like everything, right? You can have a perfect plan, you can execute it. You are playing with something bigger than yourself, weighing more than yourself, a wild animal. Nothing is ever going to go to plan. But I didn't do the fundamental basics. I cut the motor straight away, instead of going forward and pushing her out of the swim. Caused a little bit of a problem. I, cut the motor straight away. And you'll see on the video, I turned around and I'm like, I was looking at all the rods. I'm like, which one's hooked up? And it wasn't obvious at the time. Because I thought it was the one off my right shoulder. But by the time that I got to the rods, the one on my left shoulder was going. And what had happened is, I looked it back on the video, you can see that she's chasing for about 20 seconds on that right lure, on the black and brown one, black and orange. She's chasing it for 20 seconds, beaks up, smacking it, and she grabs it. She has a good grab of it, which makes the reel go off. Now I've cut the motor at this point, and she's immediately turned around and hit the blue one on the left. Old mate, crazy old mate, outside the front of my house at fucking 10 o'clock at night. Hit that, and it's gone. Now, I was a little bit excited at this point. I was on my own, I was screaming my head off. It's on one of my lures, it's on one of my lures. I was like mind blown. This is the first time we've caught a fish or hooked a fish on one of my lures. I'm like, God, these tuna, yes, tuna are in. Finally got one this year. And she went. And she went. And because I didn't put the throttle down, because I didn't clear those lines, I got the middle rod in, but by that time the fish had moved from the back of the boat out to the right of the boat. She completely swung around. The line started to cut into the foam tubing on the rod handle. It started like, it was beaming off. It was like well in there. It's mistake number one, not clearing the swim. So I clear the rods. Right. I've already got my gimbal on, something I always do. I'm like, what the hell do I do now? So I start reeling down on her, and I'm like, she's not bad. Good tuna. And then I see her. It's not a bloody tuna, mate. Not a bloody tuna at all. She comes up, breaches, and dances on that tail all across the surface. A few days before this, I took my boy out in the lake. And we were playing with a GoPro, and I tied it to my burley bucket and put it underwater because we wanted to see what type of fish were around in the swim. And we moved to about 5 or 6 different spots, and I'd pull the bucket up every time with the GoPro. And this time, the burley bucket was on the bottom, and my son's like, this spot's terrible, let's move to another one. So we did. Brought the rods in, didn't bring the burley bucket in. Got to the next spot, and the rope had snapped. Like I'd been trolling a GoPro and a burley bucket for God knows how long before that rope gave in. So I lost one of my GoPros, which is usually on my chest. So the one on the boat, fish is screaming out left. this marlin, she's dancing, my adrenaline is pumping. One, it's on my lure. Two, it's like the first couple of days of October and I've got a marlin dancing. I'm solid. This is going to hit two of my goals this season. Catch my lure, being solid. She's bloody belting off, right? And she's dancing on the surface. I'm so excited. I'm like, right, what do I do now? So I do what I thought was safe. I move to the other side of the boat. The boat is in autopilot at this mode. So when I'm trolling, and I stick the autopilot on, so I lock my heading. And I put it down to half a knot to 1 knot, just to move forward a little bit, but just to maintain the heading of where I am, so the boat doesn't turn, which then gives a bad angle on the fish or something. So I move to the other side of the boat and I put her in the rod holder. I'm going to play her out of here, so I'm sat on my seat. Easy work, man. Easy work. I get her back, she goes a bit more. I get it back, she goes a bit more. Dancing on the surface, and after about 10 minutes, I'd calmed down, I'd locked in. I'm in stage 2 at this point. We've gone to the panic, to the lock-in. I'm in the lock-in. Okay, I'm winding it up. And out of nowhere, I'm moving the GoPro around, making sure that we're getting all the good angles. And then out of nowhere I hear, beep, 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 beep. Now, anyone who owns a GoPro knows that is your battery is empty and I'm turning off, and screw your beautiful fishing story. God damn it. No phone. GoPro's dead. So, everyone's heard of the term a fisherman's tale. Everyone knows the stories of, oh, I lost a fish this big, or I caught a fish this big, or I went out and I had the best day ever and I caught 1,000 fish. Oh, where's the photo? Oh, don't help me. The fisherman's tale is a story, an exaggerated, wonderful piece of art with no evidence. So this is my fisherman's tale, and you take it at face value. She's run, she's come back. She's run again, she's come back. And the final run, she bolted at the boat. I honestly thought I'd lost her. I was winding, and I'm like, I've lost her. And like, hands even went up in the air, like, I've lost her. Then she's tied again. Leaders on the wind-ons on the reel. Lean over, and the first thing I always do is just get a finger and brush the natural leader, because that's the catch. You touch the leader, you've caught the fish. So she's coming in, and I've leant over, and I've got my little hand tag. It's my final tag that I've got, and I get the tag in. Before I've even touched her, leant over and just basically, threw the tag in. Tag's in, fine. She's not even flinched. She doesn't care that she's just been stabbed with a little piece of plastic. And yeah, glove was on, went down, unhooked her, fine. And it wasn't even the point that I even had to swim her. She looked about, she went 170, 175, around 60 kilo. Beautiful. Beautiful release. Swam off. I'm like, I don't need to do anything more today. I've come out to my spot and another marlin. I get on the radio, see if there's any other boats out there. And one boat was like, what do you mean you caught a marlin? Like, are you out on the shelf? And I'm like, no mate, I'm not out that far. So that was trip one. That was trip one. A week later, me and the boys, Nathan and Chris, came up. Now, Nathan I used to play soccer with for many years, and then we discovered that we both like fishing and this type of fishing. Nathan's more of a bait type of guy. Catches lots of different species, does diving, spearfishing. Never caught a marlin. Chris, similar boat. Last year, Chris had an opportunity to get his first marlin on my boat, except it hit the mahi-mahi rod with about 10 kilo line on it, pretty much spooled him, and then snapped the line when we were trying to bully it back in. So the boys come up, drive up from Sydney. We get on the boat, nice and early, 5 a.m. again. And I immediately say to them, we're locking in, right? I've got an app on my phone. Beautiful, amazing app. Now, what I always do with the guys on the boat is we have to set the order of how we're doing things. Who is going to be on the rod first? Who is going to be clearing the deck? Who's driving? Set this order. And we do it using this app. Now, quite simply, everyone puts their finger on the phone, and then it works out who's the winner. So it goes, okay, that's the winner. It's the first person on the rod. It's a fair way. There's no rock, paper, scissors where people can cheat and stuff. It's literally, here we go. Chris wins the rod. I'm driving. Nathan's clearing deck. Explain to him everything. Get to the spot, 20, 25 minutes. Beautiful flat day. Not a breath of wind. And, I pull the lures out. And I go, right, boys, pick your weapons for the day. I'll let them pick the spread. Chris picks out this lure that I've not run yet. I'd done a little bit of underwater testing on it. I knew it had a beautiful bubble flow. And he pulls it out and goes, bloody hell, mate, Oxford Street. People from Sydney might get that. It's a very, very rainbow looking lure, so you might get it. And he's like, I'm definitely running Oxford Street. And it's one of my cup heads that tapers off. Funnily enough, the first lure I designed, the first one I printed, this was 100% custom, no inspiration off anything. And he wants to run it, so we put it on the rigger. Nath picks his. We run it on a different way. Then I set the rest of the three. We've had Starlink installed at this time. So I'm like, guys, I'm going to test this live stream, see if we can do it. So I put the live stream on, I put it on Twitch, and we're going along. No word of a lie. 12 minutes into the live stream. There are birds everywhere. We're on the spot again. Fields of birds. Showing Nathan the saddle, like, look, this is bait. These are fish under it, and they're pushing the bait up, and this is what's, explaining the process. And we were talking shit. We were talking about something like, Chris was telling us a story about how he knows someone who got a wheelie bin, he filled it up with concrete and used it as an anchor for a fad. And out of nowhere, good old Oxford Street, bang. Rod's gone, reel screaming off. I look back on the footage, we're talking so much shit. Nathan, if I'm driving this way, right, Nathan's seat is this way, facing back, looking at the spread. Chris is on deck, you know, just chilling out. And not one person on that boat noticed that for 33 seconds, I've timed it on the bloody footage, for 33 seconds, there was a marlin attacking one of those lures. Lock the fuck in, boys. 33 seconds and nobody notices. Anyway, the real screams. This time, I lock it. Boot it forward. Clear the spread. Chris gets on the rod. Me and Nath clear the deck. Get the teasers in. 12 minutes into our live stream. So we have the chaos, the panic. Now we're locking it. So he's got his gimbal on. We've harnessed him up. We've clipped him up. Chris is catching this marlin. So he's bringing it in. Runs towards the boat again. Exactly the same behaviour as the last one. Runs towards the boat. And we're like, oh my god, we've lost it. And this is a point where I need to say that when the boys are on the boat, and if you watch this, boys, stop filming like this and film like this. Because when you film like this, it makes me really, really angry at when I'm trying to edit stuff and make it look good. But anyway, she's near the boat. She's dancing everywhere, giving Chris a real good show. Like, this fish is bigger than him. Chris isn't a tall guy. Chris is a small guy. This fish is bigger than him. Probably weighs more than him too. And he's fighting it toe to toe. And he's doing really well. You know, we're moving it around the boat. We're doing some stuff. Nathan's getting the boat in drive and like helping out. I'm just trying to feather the fish in. And we get him. 12 minutes into a live stream, we've hooked up. 32 minutes into a live stream, we're unhooking her at the side of the boat and releasing her. I didn't have any tags. I was really pissed off that I used my last tag the week before. Didn't have any tags left. 4 hours on, we get another. We get the third marlin of October off the same spot to the boat. My fish this time. Beautiful thing. We get her off. Again, 60 to 80 kilos. Nothing big, but 60 to 80. We had a good trip. That's all we caught. There wasn't anything around, you know, we hit the fads. There was no early mahi-mahi. We've not had any striped tuna. Just marlin. The third and final trip of October. Same kind of gig. I had a new decky this time. I'm in the market for a new permanent decky. So I'm just like kind of seeing a couple of people, seeing if they can really give me what I need on the boat. And I've joined the game fishing club by this time. Got my new tagpole. Everything. It's all coming together. Got my new tags as well. And we head out. And we get to my spot again. Birds everywhere. All in and out. The issue with taking people out who you don't know is, one, you feel that you are obliged to catch something. Two, you potentially make decisions that you wouldn't make. And it's something I need to be better with when I'm the captain, what I say goes. Because we worked my spot for probably 2 hours. There were birds there, there was fish there, 30 meters down. I could see them. Bloody knew that they were there. And I couldn't raise them. 2 hours. Not a lot of time. And this guy, he wanted to go to the shelf. Thought that was a better option. On the radio, somebody had said, hey, look, we've had a double hookup on the shelf. Was it the right thing to do? Look, in my opinion, it was a spur of the moment decision, a decision I made, and it was the wrong one. 100% it was the wrong one. Got to the shelf, it's an extra 45 minutes to get out there. You get there, and it's dead, and the wind's picked up, and all of a sudden you're not in 140 meters of water, you're in 2,000 meters of water. I worked that canyon so goddamn hard. I did so many laps and so many zigzags and up and downs, and I covered every inch of water on that southern canyon. And for 4 or 5 hours, I didn't mark one piece of bait. I didn't see one bird actively fishing. Didn't see any flying fish. On the way back in, I called it there. I was like, no, man, I'm going to see some weather coming in from Texas, coming across. Like, I'm not getting stuck out here. So, I started to put it back in. And no word of a lie. When people say that they run over fish, they usually mean that the fish, they see them on the sounder, and the fish are under them 20, 30 meters. When I say I ran over a fish, I mean that if I wouldn't have stopped the boat, I would have hit the damn thing. Because as we were passing my spot, no word of a lie, right in front of the boat, as we're driving in, there's a 100-kilo marlin sat on the surface, 20 meters off the front of the boat. And we both see it, and we're both like looking at it going, oh, get the rods out. Almost ran over the damn thing. We get the rods out. Oh, God, I worked that area for 20, 30 minutes. The tightest figure of eights, zigzags. I marked her about 4 times. Knew she was there. And all I got for all that effort, I got 4 clicks on a reel. Tick, 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 tick. Turn around. So she came up and had a look. Didn't do it. Biggest issue off that trip is I should have stuck to my guns and worked my area. It's what's working for me now. Is it going to work next month? God knows. What's working now is that spot, which I went all summer, all winter looking at. So, just summarise a little bit. 4 goals. Catch a solo marlin. Bang, done. Get my friends a marlin. Half tick on that one. Chris has got his. Nathan, you're up next, bro. 3. Join a game fishing club and be competitive. We'll see at the end of the year where we're at. 4. Do it all using my lures. Tick, tick, tick. Not bad for an October, right? October. They shouldn't be here, but they are. I think we're in for a hell of a season. Hope we are. Campaigns are fun. All that winter planning, all the research, all the diving down into looking into everything. Yeah, this is going to be a good summer. Tie lines.